What's going on? We are back with Likutey Halachot, Torah of Rebbe Nachman through Rabbi Natan, based on Shulchan Aruch, through the lens of Likutey Maran. And we're in Torah Aleph, Seif, Gimel, so we're just going to do probably the first paragraph of Gimel, because we don't have much time. But I want to keep making progress, and as Rabbi Nachman says, one step at a time. So even if you just have a little bit of time, you can jump into a sefer and learn some Torah, even if it's just for a few minutes. So we're going to dive in. So right now, V'zeh b'chinat ura kevodi, ura hanevel v'kino, ira shracha. So this is the aspect of, right now we're picturing King David, and there's this northern wind at midnight that would come through, wake him up, and it would be playing off the harp, and basically he would have these downloads and write the Psalms, Tehillim, right? So here, it's this aspect of this awakening of the soul through the harp and the lyre, ira shachar. So earlier we talked about Rabbi Nachman saying how we come into alignment, how we awaken ourselves toward the light, how we create beautiful melodies by being in alignment, by being harmonic and having this sort of being in key and in tune with the light and with love and with all those around us, rather than being sort of dissonant and out of key and out of sync with each other and with ourselves. So this is this aspect, and when we're talking about the harp and the lyre, it's these elements of looking at music in that way. So it's basically that he's stressing that each person needs to wake themselves from their spiritual slumber and from any of their falls, so that which disconnects them from being in full faith and from the light. So this is one of the most amazing lines ever. It sounds like it's a question. On behalf of what can someone awaken themselves? But it's actually the answer. So va'ayidei ma is this aspect of ma is what, and it's also in chokhmah, koach ma. So it's this representing basically this idea of self-nullification, of removing any of what you think, right, when you're judging your own life or judging somebody else. And all of these things, these like sort of judgments that we bring to any situation, which actually oftentimes removes us from what is and from being present in the moment and from sort of existing in this space of love and light. So when we're saying ma, in this sense, we're talking about removing those judgments, making way for being in alignment with the divine. So va'ayodei ma, through this process of self-nullification and removing what we're thinking, but like existing, as we said, in what is, and in alignment and in faith, this is how we awaken ourselves. Et we can go into further, but it's the aleph to taf, so it's representing that which is in alignment, because all of the things in creation and creation itself is brought about through speech, but also through these letters, right? So aleph to taf represents the first and the last letters in the Hebrew alphabet. So when it's saying va'yedei ma yitorel et atzmo, it's saying et, this idea of alignment and this idea of being in this space connected to the love and light. So your aleph to taf, the alphabet, these letters, these powers, this element of creation that embodies ourselves in this way when we are connected. So those are in order. When we're not connected, when something is far from the elevated state, when it's used for its opposite, which is the sitra achra, which literally means its opposite, or that which opposes godliness. So that, the idea is it's mibulba, so the letters are actually, they're all mixed up. So the aleph to taf is not aleph to taf, it's not in order going from the first letter to the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet, it's all mixed up. So the idea of when we're saying a bracha, we're elevating any of these things that could be used for that which is closer to God and elevated, or the opposite. So when we are elevating that thing, then we're bringing back, we're restoring order in the letters of the alphabet. So yitorel et atzmo, so awaken this idea of this proper order and this elevation within ourselves and within all of creation, so that the letters are restored and that they're used for its proper function and its potential, really. So through this good point that we've been talking about, that you can still find within yourselves, even when, but nefila, that we're talking about even in the falls and the disconnect that we feel. This is the aspect of awakening from the shachar, which is sort of awakened from the dawn, but shachar is also darkness. So awaken from this dark state and the darkness that covers the light, which is, of course, koach hamedama, which is the power of the imagination. So it's saying it's not even true, but we feel it to be so true that it dictates our own reality and how we're viewing life itself. So because this good point and this godliness is in this aspect of the darkness, so even within the darkness, that which we think is completely disconnected has that point of godliness within it. So this is bringing a pasuk of when we're talking about black or darkness, it's the things that are clouding, that are concealing the light. So it's these layers, this klipot. So here it's saying, I am black but beautiful. But when you're reading that as a literal translation, it's like, it sounds, especially now, very foreign and it doesn't really make much sense. But when you tap into the depth of it, it's saying that basically that we are viewing ourselves as having this element of shchora, of darkness, of dirt, of the things that are covering the good. And here it's saying, okay, so you're viewing yourself that you're having this, but it's actually, but I have this, I'm perceiving this, but I'm beautiful. Ki machmat shezot hanikudot meorevet psolet harbe pkamim harbe shipagam ze adam al yedei ze nidme shehi shchora. So here it's saying basically these aspects of even the good point is mixed with these impurities and these blemishes. This is the aspect of this darkness or this dirt that is concealing the light. And these things that you did that are sort of disconnecting you from the light. Through this, it seems, nidmeh, we're always using this word, when Rabbeinu or Rab Natan's using nidmeh, so it's this power of the imagination, this koach hamedama, shehi shchora, so it seems to you that there's this blackness that is real. Ki munachat bekadrut ubeshacharut chas v'shalom atlo. So it's basically this aspect of this gloom or this darkness, God forbid, that you're feeling is taking over your being. Aval kshedan et atzmo lekav zchut umorer umotze ba'atzmo nekudat tova. So when you're judging favorably, we're talking about this process again, yourself and others, then you go into this meritorious state and this awakening, and then you can find this good point within yourself, which is also the elokut, which is the godliness. Hazai hu omeret shchora ani v'neva al tiruni shani shchachoret. So this is when you're saying that there's this blackness, this darkness, but there is this beauty. So don't look at me as if I have this darkness and this dirt that is covering myself, because my inner essence and my true self is the light. Ki en hashacharut misheli, because this darkness and this dirt and the concealment isn't actually a part of me, or it isn't me in myself. Kmo shefiresh Rashi, as Rashi is saying sham on this pasuk, ken nekudat tova ba'atzma sheyesh etzel ha'adam afilu etzel poshei Yisrael hi nava ve'yafeh mod. So this good point that we're talking about itself, sheyesh etzel ha'adam, that the person has, afilu, even the ones, here it's saying the sinners of Israel, it's the people that are furthest from being in alignment, from doing the commandments, from doing the things that bring us closer, this elevation that we're talking about. Even within them, it's still basically koach hamedama. It's not true. And they actually have this beauty, yafeh ve'yafeh ma'od. So it's this very great beauty, right? And this nekudat tova raksha Shcharut chofeh aleya. It's just that this darkness and this dirt and this disconnect is covering up the truth, basically. Aval shemeorerin ota hi omeret shchora ani v'neva. So when we do this process of the awakening, then it's sort of saying to the darkness that I am beautiful. That's what's happening through this process. Al taruni shani shchachore. Don't look at me like I am darkness and dirt and disconnect and covered up in all of these things. See my essence. See the truth. Ki mitzad atzmi ani nava ad ma'od. Because the truth is, through me, and the essence of me is this beauty, this exceedingly beautiful truth, right? And I always think of od ma'at also as this sort of the power of the pause, right? When we're talking about the ma, this self-nullification and suspending all these judgments, then we're talking about coming into the truth. Because if we could remove the false narratives and the things that we're always telling ourselves, then we can move back into the truth. And that's the idea of this ma, of this what, of this questioning, of this removing our own stories and trying to leave space for the truth and the light and the alignment that comes with removing that and sort of surrendering ourselves toward the divine. All right, Shavua Tov. Love you guys.